team benefits from you running into them. So yeah, the Cassier's an intelligent pick, assuming Riddle's flaws and NORD's positives at the same time. They expect to be behind. They don't want to bleed as heavily as they have been, but they know now that no matter how late the game gets, so long as it keeps going, so long as they're still in the game, they can play to win.
And in this game 3, getting the win is so important. First couple of games in a best of 5, you can let them get away from you to a certain extent, but here, it's all about match point. It's all about what you're able to lay down. Kiba has found his way over the wall. WoW is maybe going to be a victim of a crime
get it off level 1,
that he's not aware of. WoW flashes!
Flash burn!
Needed to react in time there. Otherwise, the NORD top laner would have fallen down. Going to be without that flash for laning phase. But like you said, that W start for Kiba not the best.
Yeah, it's not best for the level 1 in lane, but they were expecting to lose anyway, so they tried to get advantage. NORD gonna try to do something with that in the bot lane. You could also potentially have seen the W start lead to a mid lane advantage. Good play by Riddle there, right? And for once, they're playing heavy to their top side early on, trying to make it as easy as possible. And Darius gets a really good lane state for himself, and it's daring WoW to go through him, knowing WoW doesn't have the flash, burns the bone plating actually good into the Jax. WoW showing he has Q start instead, not able to do much in that short trade level 1.
Yeah, so a little bit of what Banderas did there is he just pulled that first wave of minions into that bush, which made all the melee minions drop aggro onto him, and then when they re-aggro, they're all going to hit the same minion, which means that the wave is going to push away from WoW and put him in a bad spot. It's a very, very heads-up play from Banderas, knowing that he wins the level 1 as well. Going for the Ignite 2 on this Jax, even though the last game on a carry top lane, the Fiora into the OLF didn't go great for him. He's still willing to sort of go for it and think highly of himself, take the combat summoner into a lane that he wants to win.
One sec, I'm undoing all of the skincare on my face and pushing my glasses into my fat nose. Actually, Jax wasn't able to get the minions to all hard aggro the first minion there, but the wave would still push into him. He wasn't able to do the 1 minion denial that you're supposed to do with that. WoW decided to lose HP to still get that, and thus get level 2 at a roughly even spot with Banderas. Bit of a failure from Banderas on that, but the wave was still in a good spot for him overall, which still does matter.
Yeah, and I mean, if that Darius isn't able to get to an early lead, then the Jax is going to be very, very happy as the game goes on.
Good trade, though. Very good trade there. Jax, you have to imagine, didn't have the ability to queue in at that particular point on the wave so that he can be burned into a long queue, meaning Jax can't actually get anything done there. Jax is on lower HP, but if he's able to get the shove in from the minion advantage, it won't matter so much, but that was good by WoW, especially given that the level 1 trade didn't go well, because he got stunned by the Jax C. If you're going to go for the Q trade level 1, you can't get stunned by the Jax C, or you end up losing that trade, and obviously he doesn't have flash. Jax now is in a position where he pretty much has to secure a recall on this wave, or the game could get hard. That's why mid-section is being so contested, because if it isn't, this Liari get topside, disrupt this Jax, and Jax is in a very dangerous position where WoW could end up with a favorable state.
Yeah, you don't want that wave just frozen in front of the Darius's tower, and you're just sort of waiting to lose more and more minions, or potentially get ganked by Akaban and put into a dangerous spot. This is probably the slowest game that we've had so far in this series, actually, Veteran.
Because when the game accelerates this entire series, it's being on NORD's terms, and Riddle made that very difficult for them to do topside, and no one, looking at you, Johan, is heavy diving this Draven on the bot side. Riddle are being more patient. Top lane did not start with good advantages on the early levels. Banderas is playing his matchup out better. He's back here with 2 longswords. This is now untradeable for WoW, and Johan is here to facilitate that. Jax could try to go for a short trade here, where even if he loses HP, so long as he prevents WoW going back, it's still good. WoW does manage to use his Q to burn the bone plating. Banderas needs to absorb minions before he gets to level 5, but Johan is here to allow the full-on trade. Ignite comes out, should be a kill.
Easy. Very, very easy. Very, very smart stuff from Riddle, and obviously with no teleport here for WoW, the wave is going to be pushed away from him, going to deny him for a fair bit. And for the first time this series, it's actually Riddle getting first blood.
Yeah, Riddle are able to play with Banderas because Banderas is not in a position to just run the game down level 1, and so they're able to secure this early advantage, play off the damage of the double longsword, and that wave is in a very good spot. Sure, the minion advantage is technically 2 in favor of Darius, but there are about 7 minions right now on that top wave, and that's only going to keep increasing. If Jax absorbs it all under turret, maybe you won't get every minion under turret, because that wave is definitely too big for him to just immediately contest. But he's absolutely going to absorb all the XP and get level 6 advantage over the Darius, which could turn into a solo kill.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. That is a load of experience that is just going to be fed into the belly of Banderas. Across the rest of the map, there's not been too much action. Like we anticipated, Woolite and Kasing have got the lion's share of the shove in this bottom lane, and that means that Akaban is free to rotate over to the Drake. But we're not seeing any dives. We're not seeing anyone taken down just yet, which is going to be benefiting Riddle.
Yep, Darius does actually hit the 6 over Jax there because Jax didn't absorb all of the minions, and Darius was able to slow push for an additional wave, so he won't be able to just leverage 6 over 6 there and go immediately for the solo kill. Now Darius is in a position where waves are moving back into him, but you still have good items on Banderas there that Riddle can try to play around.
Yeah, and then looking at the items in the mid lane, it's been a while since I've seen a Cassiopeia. It looks like Firerain is going to be going for a fairly tanky build here with the Catalyst shorter build into the Rod of Ages and then a Searas as well. So Nords, they're going to want to accelerate fairly quickly, otherwise taking down this Cassiopeia is going to be real difficult.
Yep. Jack's actually missing a lot of those minions on the tower, I've noticed. I do notice that, Bandera. Okay. But the matchup at level 6 point is theoretically good for Banderas, but he's losing too many of these short trades. That's WoW's ability to get back in. He needs to win on the short trades, because right now, Jax wins on the all-in, and wow, he's able to go for Q trades without getting E'd by Banderas, so no Q trade comes out. If he wins enough of these short trades, he can actually set up a kill on Banderas. That's not what you want. Banderas wants to be able to all-in all the time.
Ooh.
Wow, showing good
He's going for it here. Once more, CC combo onto the Darius.
Nice.
Easy as you like. Riddle, don't give a window for WoW to outplay.
Yeah, they don't give him the window whatsoever, and honestly, like, Riddle playing very, very well against that Darius, right? But it is a team effort to shut him down. They do have a decent matchup with the Jax, and the Jax matchup will eventually just run away of the game and become idiot-proof, but until then, they had to play as a group with it. And luckily it's working.
Yeah, thinking about going in. Might just be killed here by Banderas. The Ignite's going to take him down. He's flashing away, but he doesn't fall. Fury turns it around.
Nice charm by Fury there, and Firerain not able to follow up in time. The Ari able to secure the kill, and now Darius is going to be able to deny Banderas minions because he doesn't have the teleport to get up to the top wave in time.
But still take care of that matchup. Willite's got to take care in the bottom lane. Riddle along the hill just to try and get in range of Willite, but he's going to be absolutely fine. Just checked around about 230 stacks on the Draven, so he'll have a fair bit of gold if he can get that cash in soon. But unfortunately, he's not really emulated the performance that he was able to have in Game 1.
I mean,
still early doors.
The key part is if, right? If the Draven is able to get his stacks out, if Riddle are going to just... Oh, we're back?
I think we've had a little bit of a pause there.
See, I got my glasses on for that actually moment, guys. All right. I all in on my nerdiness.
Yeah, well, I definitely couldn't accuse you of not doing that. But looking at this game, right, we knew that this one was going to be very, very interesting for how the rest of the series pans out, because Riddle got one win, NORD have got one win, and the defining characteristic has been the lack of action, which feels like it is going to favour Riddle in the long run, given that their composition is going to scale a heck of a lot better than what NORD has put up.
Oh yeah, no, the Jax is going to be a monster later on, but we're still seeing Banderas struggling in those instances where his team isn't fully playing around him. WoW is more comfortable in the matchup. The
Mm.
Jax, you know, getting caught by that RE, going for that kill, clearly not as comfortable on the limits of his champion as WoW is on the Darius. But that being said, this is not a game that is going well for WoW. Sure, he finds those
No.
full trade matchups, but Johan is there. Johan is there more than Akabane. That's not something we would have expected at the start of the series. Akabane being the king of playing around those lanes. Maybe having too many lanes to play around isn't so good if you have a player like Akabane. They've normally played weak side bot, strong side top, or strong side bottom, weak side top. They're trying to play 3 lanes out. It worked for one game, but Riddle, they're normally the smart ones, and they're able to figure this out faster than NORD are able to figure out how to perfect it.
Yeah, and I mean, you say this has been a team performance, obviously, to put WoW in this down position. You've got to give credit on the bottom lane to Kiba and to Jinzhou. They have survived this lane up against the Draven Leona in a manner of fashion which is to be expected. They've fallen down a fair bit in terms of CS. They've fallen down a fair bit of damage onto their tower, but crucially, they haven't died. And that is the key thing against a Draven. The longer that you can go without dying, the longer that you can deny Woolite from his passive. You do end up in some scary scenarios where the Draven has got a few more stacks than he would like, and giving him a kill becomes dangerous, but fundamentally, that's not gold that he's got now. That's not power that he can utilize now.
On the LEC patch, I would say that, like, Xayah Rakan, if they manage to make it to their 6, become an almost unbeatable combo. That's why a lot of teams are prioritizing it.
Rain caught in the mid lane, still has the flash, but isn't going to get a chance to use it. Does get the ult back, and there are the stacks collected. Cash in for Woolite.
I think that was about 668 gold, like, immediately dropped on him, and suddenly a 1.1k gold advantage opens up for the Draven against the Xayah. So what you were talking about how dangerous those stacks are going to be over time immediately comes to fruition in that nice visual demonstration on screen, and NORD have an advantage to play with.
Yeah, and it's on Woolite, a guy who has quietly topped the DPS numbers over the course of this NLC split, and Fire Rain, he's just trying to get to the wall in time to flash, but not able to do it.
Poor guy. I mean, I respect the attempt there, but yeah, I mean, ultimately they just got caught out by a really nice, honestly, by the priority that bot lane are getting. That's the big thing, right? So Draven, Leona, they're still going to get prior against the Xayah Rakan in the pre-6 era. Xayah Rakan, as you were saying, they're going to try to survive that. But if you're giving priority resets onto Leona, they have more room to play with bot side to try to make these picks than Riddle do. Enough times this happens, and eventually, hopefully, you will actually make that pick work. Jack's still kind of suffering against the Darius one-on-one there, but this is more suffering against WoW's Darius rather than the function of the matchup itself. It should just get easier for the Jacks, especially
Kasing, you need to be very careful. The Grand Entrance not quite going to knock up the Leona, and Riddle opting against investing too much damage. That is a good block on the charm actually there from Keeper, preventing access onto Fire Rain, as Jinzhou has also roamed over. Johan going for a big committal here down onto Kasing, who doesn't have the rest of his team here to help him out. WoW has roamed down, has dropped a load of damage onto Kiba, has invested the ultimate, but isn't going to be able to get a reset on that. Akaban now jumping onto Banderas. Hold on, Riddle. Everybody is here, and it is a bit of a mess. Banderas just going to feed a double over to WoW. Fire Rain flashing away, but WoW will ghost him down. Big ultimate use. Charm interrupts Johan. He can't get the CC down onto WoW, but it's not going to matter. He flashes away over the wall, but still gets hit by the arrow from Woolite, and NORD are making the fight work in the bot side river. Akaban taken down. Jinzhou with the flash ult, but the axes from Woolite are inevitable. A triple kill from the NORD 80 carry.
They've been here before. The Draven is snowballing again, but crucially, WoW is able to get the grouping off. Jax opts to match him instead of playing his top side, and Riddle opt for the 5v5. But where NORD are stronger with WoW is gonna be in those team fights. And honestly, though, that could have still gone against NORD if it wasn't for Fury's ridiculous charm to protect WoW there for just a little bit longer. WoW grouping up here, you can see the Darius is still more useful than Jax in these team fights, much more of a threat. Banderas goes to try to eliminate Akabane there, but that would be at best a 1-for-1.
Watch Fury, watch Fury.
Yep. Fury here on that charm gets Johan on the way there in towards the Darius, extends the fight a bit longer and gives them the time for Woolite to secure that triple kill. Respect the plays from Jinjo here to try to trade as much as possible because Riddle need as much as they can in terms of itemization to stall the game out, but this ultimately ends up being a triple kill for Woolite and another snowballing Darius in a situation that Riddle have found themselves in already, and the last time they weren't able to get past it.
The Draven has 4 kills. Veteran,
yeah,
the Draven has 4 kills.
Has 3
it's going to present an issue, but maybe not for Riddle. They find Woolite, immediately shut him down as soon as possible. Jinjo able to escape as well as here comes Akabane flashing on top of the Riddle AD carry and claiming a kill for Kasing. And Fury roaming over the charm through onto Johan Kiba. Will be able to run away, but his jungler will not be so lucky. That is enemy territory, buddy. You're not getting out of there alive.
Yeah, but he's going to delay them a lot. He's going to allow his team to get resets, give Jax as much time as he can to play around topside as well. Jax was actually contesting WoW in the river the whole time to prevent WoW getting a grouping off. WoW knows he's at the stage of the game where, despite his kills, look at the itemization. Divine Sunderer out on Banderas. WoW with that CS discrepancy, he knows he cannot face Banderas in the long lane. He's going to let Banderas fix the way for him and try to group. So Banderas has to prevent those groupings because that's the only time where WoW is going to be more of a danger than Banderas now. Riddle with Kiva, they're looking to try to play heavily around this advantage. They know if they isolate the Darius, and Jax will do the job for him. You just have to prevent Darius from grouping. Woolite gave up a bounty there. Ari got a kill. Ari's doing well, but, you know, don't tell Myra this, but it is an Ari. Who really cares?
Well, I think with the Everfrost build, you're not looking at too much damage, and Fury is more about enabling the strong side lanes that he does have right now in this game. NORD, a decent spot for themselves in terms of goal. Johan goes completely wide with the Q. Able to get the cease and desist off as well. Jinjo with the feather slide to try and take out Woolite, but he's still alive. He's still alive, not for much longer. A 1-for-1 jungle for ADC.
Genuinely, if Johan had hit that Q, he doesn't die there at the end of that fight. Bit disappointed, but ultimately, Woolite, that's more time he has not farming. That's more time Jin Zhao has getting solo XP on bot side. They know they're trading off the top side Herald for it, but they're getting more economy on Jinjo. They're getting Jinjo back in this game, and he could potentially get first tower despite the Herald being on the side of NORD. They have to group to defend that because they're aware of the risk, but no one's mid because Fire Rain's decided this is the perfect time to be going grabbing blue buff, but they don't drop the Herald on mid there. They don't have enough information on Fire Rain to know that was actually an option. Yeah, honestly, I think Riddle are fine with that trade for now.
And it puts us into a very similar spot to where we've been in the last 2 games, where you're looking at Riddle and you're going, okay, they're making decent map moves in a gold deficit. We just need to see slightly better hands from them. And in the last game, we saw great hands from them in those last couple of team fights, able to turn around a game which we were for sure had gone in the favor of NORD. So I can't imagine that the blue side team are going to be showing too much over-enthusiasm. They know that their opponents can turn this game around in the blink of an eye, and they're not going to give them the chance.
Hans hasn't played in the ERL for 6 years, dude.
God damn it.
Unless you count NA.
LCS bad, XD.
ERL, European Regional League, more like European Retirement League, am I right?
Ooh, dab on them, dab on them, dab on them. I mean, we had a couple of like NA imports, haven't we? I think we had Cody Sun in the LFL last year.
Yeah. How did that go?
Didn't go well.
No.
Could have gone better.
Could have gone a lot better.
Yeah, left a little bit to be desired, but for Riddle,
NLC
fine
had
in this game.
NLC import at one point actually. They had an AD carry, no? Can't remember what his name was. I think it was something to do with fire.
Oh, now that is a deep cut. So that is before I was.
That was a top flame. Not the same flame.
Mate, he was Korean, mate. I'm pretty sure.
No, different guy.
Different guy. No
there was
way.
An American.
He
played a lot of Aatrox. I remember that.
So at some point in the past, there was an American Aatrox main in the NLC.
Yeah, called Flame or something like that.
If you,
and he was a top laner.
If in chat you can confirm that's Flame, I'd very much appreciate it.
Yeah, my keyboard doesn't work right now, so
Veterans built T on his keyboard before the game, so his researching powers are reduced.
I spill T every minute of every day. All right.
It's not great. Both teams fighting for mid lane priority now, as this Drake in 30 seconds would be sole point for NORD. Fury, at risk of being engaged on, but fine for the time being. Banderas in a similar spot. Neither team really able to get anything conclusive. Another chance connecting. Johan
so good at the game.
Has to flash away. Wow has popped the ghost. He gets two with the apprehend. He's dived very, very far forward, and Keeper is trying to break up the plate on the backline, buying so much time.
Isolates.
1-for-1 Lee Sin for Rakan, but you can tell that NORD are feeling a little bit better about that trade. They are forcing back Riddle, but here they come. Woolite overstepping in the mid lane, engaged and dead. Wow, with a reset, getting a couple of dunks for himself. Neither team with a decisive advantage in the fight. NORD have got numbers. Look at mid lane, we might see some more fighting. No, into the replay.
In towards the replay there. Wow, with the E showing his usefulness. Sakabane follows up on it, but Kiba prevents NORD going in, which isolates Sakabane. This 1-for-1, I think you're perfectly happy with that if you're Riddle. Firing gets to kite the Darius there and show they're not so bothered by that. And going in on the Woolite and trading here, I think can be completely worth, especially with the goal going on Jinjo. Because yes, WoW gets the kills, but you have options to isolate him in lane, in which case Jack still beats him, or kite him to death with the Cassio. And I think in both those options, you're happy with that economic trade because the Darius doesn't get to use his gold like Jinjo gets to use his in these situations, including against the Darius himself. Still, very nice plays coming out on the side of NORD there. You're seeing the strength that the Darius has in these group situations versus the Jax. It's up to Riddle to play appropriately and try to nullify the gold that he's acquired.
Yeah, well, what I loved is the back half of that play, you saw Riddle go for that re-engage. It's not a passive team that we're seeing here on the red side of Summoner's Rift. It is absolutely a team which is willing to capitalize on mistakes from NORD if and when they make them. They're better than most at spotting those mistakes. Dragon has been started up. Riddle are trading for vision around the Baron pit.
That they are, and they're playing heavy around the Jax now. WoW, though, playing very hard with this grouping because he knows that's where his strengths are. He wants to avoid this 1v1. He wants to force a skirmish because then Banderas' teammates are something WoW could play around. The extra utility he has from his own teammates is something WoW can play around. But Riddle, they decide not to play into that. They're fine with the wave reset on top lane. They lose a Drake for it, but they're thinking they can be in a better position on the Drake's soul itself.
Yeah, Cloud Drake, not really given too much credit. It's nice to have, but very rarely is it going to win you a game.
The individual Cloud Drake, no, but the soul point it opens up gives you a potential double threat where your opponent has to decide whether it's Kessia, Baron, or Soul, and potentially make a losing trade either way, depending on how powerful your composition is. So I think that individual Drake itself, the stats from that Drake, no, but the map state it opens up later on, yes.
Oh, well, hold on, let's look at this map state. NORD starting up the Baron. Riddle absolutely know that this is going on, but Fire was pushing out bot lane without teleport available, so the Cassiopeia is going to take a bit of a while to get here. Kasing whipping with the Solar Flare. Fury going really far forward to try and find something. Ultimately, NORD get very little for that bait.
Yeah, I mean, Riddle, they are playing intelligently to try not to give them these skirmishes that they really want. Fire Rain, I mean, Akabane can go in there, but that's an instant miasma into instant burst. And now Riddle, they're a composition that disengages fairly well if the enemy runs into them, and they're daring them to do so. Kiva's looking for the flank.
He's going for a flank. He's trying to find a member of NORD. Kasing on the side, just trying to ward him out, preventing the engage. Johan is going for it, but he's been apprehended and killed by WoW. Nords get the first kill of the play. You've got Fury roaming around on the side. They didn't know the Ahri was there, but she's maybe in a bad spot. A shutdown secured, and Akaban trying to fight Banderas, not able to make it work. A double for Jinjo, and actually it's Nord who lose out on the play from a little bit of over-aggression from their man in the mid lane. Riddle now rotating onto the mid lane, trying to take the tower for themselves.
Yep, Johan absolutely getting the EOS solo queue experience and deciding to kill himself at the start of the fight there. But somehow the fight ends up going in favor of Riddle anyway, because Nord go a bit too ham on Banderas. Fury gets really nice CC off on him, but the E comes out, the autos come out, and Conqueror is already stacked in one auto when Akabane jumps over, because Fury does not have the burst to follow up on his own CC. So if you're off on those timings, all you're giving is 3 stacks on Jax, and once that Conqueror is there, he can fight as many people as he wants, especially if they come in one by one. But still, questionable decision making from Johan at the start of that fight there. He pretty much chose to die. He queued in. It wasn't just the E coming out. He queued in there when Kiva wasn't yet in a position to do the flank. And you can't expect the opponents to be so disjointed in a 5v4 situation as they were there every time. So despite a Riddle fight there, there's still a lot of hope there for Nord to make it work the next time around.
And that's Gambit that you alluded to a little bit earlier, of that Drake soul for Baron trade is becoming a little bit more of a reality as every second passes. Only 90 until that one is on the Rift. Both top laners posted down on the bottom half of the map. Neither of them have teleport, so joining a play around the pit would be difficult, would be dangerous.
Look at that though. WoW appears bot lane as Jack takes the tower. And
Kiba maybe disappearing in mid lane, but they're able to turn it around, get a re-engage back through onto Nord. Woolite is in no man's land, and now he's in a cemetery. A shutdown for Fire Rain. Those two picks open up the Baron for Riddle.
Yep, 2 big points there. One, when Banderas took that bot tower and Darius appeared, Banderas ended up seeing...
Oh, wow, gets 3, and that's a huge kick from Akaban onto Jinjo. A shutdown for Fury. It's 1 kill traded back, though, as Kiba is going to die to Akaban on the backside. Fury running from Fire Rain, but those twin fangs cut through the health bars. No Baron for Riddle, but look at Banderas. He's had free reign to split push in the bot lane.
Yep, so, yeah, every time I want to complete this sentence, it extends longer and longer. Banderas takes tier 1 on bot, Darius shows on bot lane, Banderas doesn't know which one to do, and then sees the rest of his team is topside, so walks towards the Darius, and the Darius, he tries to make a grouping work. Riddle are able to force before Darius makes the grouping, and when Darius shows up on topside, Banderas keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. This entire sequence of events began because Banderas knows and is confident he wins the pure one-on-one against WoW, and WoW knows he must make the groupings work. And that pressure is forcing mistakes from Nord and aggression from Riddle that ends up succeeding in their favor. Banderas got so much bot lane there, he's basically unstoppable in any solo situation. Riddle are now looking to make 2 plays on 2 sides of the map at the same time. If they keep doing that, they'll at least win one of them.
They'll teleport behind.
Much harder than Nord can win theirs.
Fury is looking for a flank, looking for a pick on this Ahri. Hasn't been spotted out yet by Riddle, but they may have seen him on that blast cone. Johan charging up the Vault Breaker. You just need a pick. You just need to get Woolite. Lock him down. Send him home. Kasing with a double ultimate. Jinjo able to go up into the sky. Banderas playing immediately onto Woolite. Wow, getting in the midst of everybody too, but Jinjo isn't able to survive. They take him down. It's Nord who find a couple kills. It's Kasing who's looking for a couple more, but you need to beware Fire Rain. He's got so much damage in the kit at this point. And Woolite can't withstand it. Fury is kiting away. And he will be able to successfully extricate himself from that fight. It's so damn close, and it hasn't yet stopped. Kasing diving over the wall. Fury trying to find something. Beautiful knock-up! Just in time prevents Akaban from getting in, as Johan still firing out damage down onto that Lee Sin. Kiba is dead. Kasing is dead. And Fire Rain is doing everything that he can. The miasma value is absolutely insane, as it's another shutdown for Fire Rain!
hits him with the game over, reprocs Conqueror twice in that fight. The value of going Cassio over going the Galio to play for Banderas is showing itself. Even though Riddle are not favoured in the 5-on-5, just the kite potential against the Darius, the miasma against the Ahri, against the Lee Sin, it's all showing up in their favour. The Cassio picks getting massive value. Fire Rain able to show he can be a carry himself. Fury is having a phenomenal game on the Ahri, but Fire Rain is having a phenomenal game on, let's face it, a more useful champion in these situations, and he's coming up huge.
It's got to be up to Woolite now for NORD. Like you said, Fury's Ahri is adept at finding these picks, but that build with the Zhonyas, with the Cosmic Drive, with the Aether Frost is not something which is conducive to dealing a lot of damage. It's about providing setup for your team that has worked very well for you in this series and across this split. But looking across the board now at Fire Rain, like you mentioned, he's level 16 now on the Cassiopeia. Such a difficult threat to withstand, and the Riddle side lane as well. Banderas, Jinjo, they've scaled as well. NORD, they haven't been able to snowball with their composition, and Riddle got a gold lead. They've got some confidence.
I mean, they have a lot of confidence coming out from the last game, I should say, as well, though. They were in a position where things could go badly. They've maintained patience, and you have to think, look at the best of ones that they played, right? It was all about this late game scaling. Ooh.
Yeah, they just get a Baron for free, and NORD might be trying to turn it around. WoW has been jumped onto and cannot sustain through this fight. NORD have been split up. Kasing running for the hills, but he will not escape from Riddle. This game has been turned around by the team in green. They're going to be pushing through onto this mid lane, building further and further advantages and setting themselves up potentially for match point in this series.
I mean, every win Riddle have had has been a marathon, and showing that you have the ability to run these long games, showing the ability to sustain through heavy losses in early phases of the game, that was always going to translate more into a best-of-5 series. Hats off to NORD for going all in on their strengths, and it almost worked. But you have to think, if that was the plan, and it seems to be the plan that they doubled down on, even after it lost, do NORD have something else to show? Because if they don't have something else to show, Riddle are just going to do the same thing again in the next game. And if they don't, they're going to do it immediately in the game after.
Well, and there becomes an element of you going, okay, hold on, this is the Juggernaut match. Losing this game doesn't knock us out. We are going to have to play a lower bracket matchup, but NORD have not lost to a team not called Riddle. They don't lose to anybody else in this league. So there's a bit of you thinking maybe they fancy their chances in that lower bracket. We don't show everything in this matchup. Keep something special just to the side for the finals.
Look at the manner that Riddle are using to win, though. How the wins have come out. You have to think, this is closer to a Ruddy playstyle than it is to anything else. If Ruddy are able to get through Verdant, maybe they're looking at this and they're starting to feel confident. NORD run out of gas quite fast, and Ruddy have been that scaling team thus far. And the patch also favors them, similarly to how it favors Riddle.
Fury there just chilling in the Raptor pit. Thinking about diving over the wall, thinking about finding a charm. Ideally onto someone like Jinjo, but instead he's going to be finding Johan. That solar flare is ambitious. Means that Riddle can push through, take this inner tower without too much trouble.
Yeah, I mean, can NORD even realistically contest them at this point? Like, in a straight 5-on-5, I mean, Darius doesn't get the angle. He has to run forward into a Cassio that will eternally kite him into Xayah Feathers that are just going to control a massive area and incapacitate him. If he goes on sides, he's against the Jax that wins 1v1 on him at every single turn, and now even has the ability to deny him a reset in the group situation. Draven can go in, but Johan's shown he has basically zero regard for his own existence and just hates Woolite that much for some reason. Like, and a lot of follow-up to go with that. honestly, when they started targeting Draven, the guy died 4 times in a row successively to that sacrifice. How did they really enter this composition? Riddle have the stylistic composition again, and NORD haven't been able to snowball to the extent that they can prevent the groupings and go for those isolated kills. You have to think, we're just the ending is a formality here. We are talking
so
about
difficult.
Game 4.
It's so difficult for them to move in. You almost want Akabane to turn into Johan for a moment and make one of those crazy plays that we saw from the Riddle jungler on Lee Sin, one of those massive kicks. You can get Fire Rain out of the fight nice and early, then hey, it looks a lot better for you. But catching out Fire Rain is going to be difficult. This isn't the Swain from games past. He's a lot more powerful.
There is no Veigar on their team, right? Last game, even though it looked completely over, you could still at least say, well, if this Veigar is Rabadon's, he can one-shot someone. The cage still controls them. They still have displacement to control that. Riddle's composition, NORD's composition, doesn't have any of those features. That composition works really well if WoW can run into the Jax, if Draven can run ad nauseum and Fury and Lee play around that. They can't do that. They're stuck on tier 3s. They're waiting for a 5-on-5 and looking at how both compositions play. If they just run into each other, you have to think Riddle have all the tools in their favor now. And Riddle don't even have to do that. Riddle can just split them with the Jax. Like, all the options are in their favor. I would be extremely surprised at a comeback here, right? I'm not even sure how I can visualize it beyond just successive 1v1 ints into ints into ints into ints. Kasing losing a huge cooldown there again, trying to find that isolated int. But it's so difficult for them to do.
Yeah, Fury's going to be able to knock down that bottom lane tower, claim a little bit more gold for himself. That objective bounty should help him finish off that Rabadon's, which is maybe going to put this Ahri in a point where she can do something in these fights. But you're right, the compositional advantage that Riddle have got at this point in the game is feeling almost insurmountable. 40 seconds until the Baron spawns, and the topside river is looking very, very dark for NORD.
The prospect of winning this game looks very dark for NORD. I don't see the objectives and I don't see the ability for them to get back in the game, but weirder things have happened. Johan on the side, we have seen him die at the start of the fight and it's still going Riddle's favor.
So being jumped onto by Banderas, so that Miasma is just buying a little bit of time, breaking it up.
Oh,
huge!
Kiba!
Grand entrance! That was absolutely beautiful, Kiba, and your team are going to get some kills to say thank you. One for Jinjo, one for Fire Rain, Kasing, a double for the Cassiopeia. And Riddle, I don't think they care about the Baron. I think they're going to be running straight at the enemy Nexus.
Fantastic knock-up from Kiba. The Miasma, though, was zoning so many people off while Banderas engaged off to the side. Johan, he's just toying with food here. If he keeps 2 people here, look at what his team gets. He doesn't even care if he does at this point, nor does he have to. Stopwatches to delay even further. The emotes come out from Fury, but ultimately, Riddle used that to break the base. They're going to break the towers. They're going to break the game, and they may have, off the back of this, broken NORD.
Match point in the series for Riddle. It was classic in Game 3. Nice, calm, and controlled with 46 kills.